Prepare yourself, guys. This is Chris. We're talking through the medias. I'm going to try to make this go as fast as possible. I'm going to give my review of the latest The Umbrella Academy Season 2 that came out last week on Netflix. And before we get into all that, I want you to hit the like, subscribe button, all that good stuff. If you like my review and all that, if you like this video and all that, show a little support. But now, let's get into a review of The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. Okay, so Chris, what did you think of the Umbrella Academy? I'm glad you asked, brother. Yeah, you look great, by the way. Look, the one thing that I was kind of concerned about from the very beginning was how it felt like, it's a cookie cutter thing. We're going to repeat all the same jokes. The whole plot from season 1 is an end of the world event that's happening. You got to stop it. We've only got like a couple of days to do it. We got to get the band together. We got to work out our family issues and cry over daddy a little bit. But we're going to do it in a whole different time during the civil rights era. So I'm like, snore. So that's stupid. Even though, it began awesome. It showed us a big fight scene in the beginning and then showed us how we could build up to that possible future, but the overall execution of the series was way better than, even though it felt like it could be in that situation where it was like a cookie cutter situation from season 1 beat for beat. No, it totally took its own steps and did something completely different than season 1 did, and let's get into that specifically. So I'm going to break down each character and we'll give my thoughts on what they went through and how I reacted to it one by one. So let's get right into that. First, let's start with Ellen Page. I'm gonna go down the order as it is on IMDb. Ellen Page and what she was going through. So from what was happening on season 1 when she pretty much ended the world and Five decided to take the family through time to try to stop it from happening and like do a little my bad, let's reset kind of situation. Sissy, played by Maureen Ireland. I've seen her in a lot of different things, but I'm having trouble remembering what it was. Now the whole thing with their relationship building, if I'm not mistaken, Ellen Page's character was in love with or falling for a guy in season 1, but in this situation, Vanya and Sissy developed a romance, and I don't know if that was just because it is what it is, such a type of situation, or if Ellen Page herself was like, I want to my character to go forward with a love interest that is a female instead of a guy. But either way it goes, it worked no matter what. I'm not complaining on it at all. Sweet that she had a son with Down syndrome that only Vanya could communicate with and calm and work with. That whole dynamic, that whole thing worked was almost the best part of this season, and it countered what was going on in season 1 perfectly. Like her being misused, mishandled, and mistrained, and raised in a really messed up way by her father, to have amnesia. It could have been very campy. There's that word again, and it could have been done so badly. But it was exactly, I felt, what that character needed to kind of reset. I don't know what I did to my family. But whatever it was, I'm sorry, kind of a thing. That to me worked, and I liked it, and I instantly felt like I forgive you. You blew up the moon, you almost killed us all. I forgive you. And even when it got to the point where Sissy's husband found out what was going on between Vanya and Sissy, that could have ended so badly, so quickly, especially when they were alone together. I swear I thought it was going to be like it was like that scene from Brokeback Mountain, if you remember correctly, what happened to Jake Gyllenhaal's character, or was it? Yeah, it was Jake Gyllenhaal's character. I thought it was going to be a situation like that, but it was more of a meeting of the minds. Like, I can do this to you if I wanted to. I could hurt you. I can make things real bad for you. We don't take too kindly with your kind around here, kind of a situation, not knowing the whole time you're talking to a woman who's able to destroy you like that. It's almost a similar situation where she could lose control, destroy everything again, but they flipped it on itself. And the reasons why that what was happening when she destroyed that federal building and whatnot was totally justified. It was like, unlike season 1, where she was just losing her mind and just doing out of pure anger and selfishness. Tom Hopper's character, Luther, just comic relief. I mean, yeah, he's still going through, he's still tortured and still struggling. I guess he's going through his whole, I was the leader and I let everybody down. I let my sister down kind of a situation. But to punish himself in the way he was doing it, like tying himself to a known criminal and working for him and whatnot, looking for just a simple life. I don't want to be the leader anymore. I just rather take orders. I don't care if he's a mob boss. I thought was really interesting. The character development and this arc that they went through on season 2 was far superior than it was with the season 1. As interesting as each character was in season 1, 10 times more interesting in season 2. And almost every scene that Tom was in was hilarious. So when every time I saw Luther on there, just his facial expressions, he didn't do as much as I would think he would. I mean, even though he got into some cage fights and things like that, but it was less the, you're in that suit and you're expecting maybe some physical comedy and whatnot. It could again gone real campy and been really boring and gotten too repetitive, but they dialed it down. He really crushed it with just his facial expressions, with his emotions, and just crushed it on a comedic level. The dude is funny. I found him. I didn't expect. I thought another character was going to be funnier than him in this season, but I found myself laughing at him in a good way, laughing with him than anybody else. Diego. So Diego, starting off in the loony bin, you got that Batman complex. I mean, the one thing I did not understand about this situation was, as much as you want to live in a world, what you consider a better world, to make a better future for yourself, going that far back in time and changing something like the assassination of JFK. Now, if the present time was 1965 or something like that, I could see it. I could understand it. But you weren't even born when that happened. You don't know how your future is going to, and we're going to get into this later. The dumbest thing that I just could not stand in this season was his obsession with saving Kennedy, taking out villains, world leaders from past, like in World War II, for example, or saving people, presidents and things like that. You don't know what future you're making. You might be making something 10 times worse. It's not. And since time travel doesn't seem to be that easy, why take the risk? You want, unless you feel like you were going to be stuck in there, which I think he did think that. So might as well make it as good as possible. I'm a hero. I'm going to make this world better. Because you saw the world end anyway. So maybe by saving Kennedy you were preventing any apocalypse. But the second your brother came back and said there's going to be another apocalypse, shut it all down. Emily Raver Lamper, Allison. Typical, of course, right? All of the siblings, she's the only one that's black. And of course, you're walking around, looking around, trying to find your brothers and sisters. What's going on? You walk into a diner and it's like, hey, read the sign. We don't serve Negroes here in this over here, right? And I was, had to take your butt to the back of the bus, didn't you? You had to go all the way to, you had to find the black neighborhood, right? I was like, see, yeah, of course. But it basically, I'm glad they went there. They could have easily had her continue to use her powers, and she could have been right there back as one of the most famous black people to have ever lived in that time and era. She could have did so much, especially with her powers. She could have had 10 times more fame and power than she did in the present time. Way to be a better person I was forced to not use my powers because of what happened to my throat. But now, even though I'm healed, I'm gonna stick to this. It was almost like being sober, and forcing yourself not to use your power. I love that about it, and the dynamic between her and her husband, played by Yusuf Gatewood, who was a Canadian dude. That dude was a great actor, man. Was real special. I liked everything with him. Behind the scenes. Now, one thing I didn't understand was by his friend that really didn't seem to like Allison a lot and kept like getting in the way of that. I was like, dude, you got a crush on her husband? What's going on there, man? I'm like, all right. Klaus. Of course, Klaus starts a cult. Now, the one thing I didn't like about I love the fact that Klaus and Ben, the back and forth between them two was even better than it was in season 1. And everything Klaus was doing to get around and get by, I understand it. I would have did it too. But the whole way he was going about it, with his cult, teach us, what should I do with my life and blah blah blah, and they stole this bit from that movie The Other Guys, with Mark Wahlberg. Where, remember when the captain kept quoting TLC songs? He did the same thing. He even, speaking of Beyonce earlier, he called his cult, Destiny's Children and whatnot. That's why I kept thinking about that. Dude, you're probably creating a future where Beyonce is never born, dude. What the hell are you doing? It felt like these guys just gave up and were like, we're probably stuck here. Look how long our brother was stuck in the future. He don't know how to time travel. I appreciated this season a lot more because of Kate Walsh, the handler, because I just got through binge watching and catching up to Grey's Anatomy, and I'm a total Addison fan now. And I loved her in season 1, but now that I was able to sneak in watching Grey's Anatomy in private practice, Addison, that's my girl now. I can't see her as anybody else but Addison. So rooting for her the whole time, and I hope this isn't the last that we see of her. I'm a huge Kate Walsh fan now, but I gotta say that whole thing where she found one of the children. There's supposed to be 8 instead of 7, and she found one of them and raised her herself. And that whole speech at the end, it looked like it was gonna work. Like he was like they were gonna turn her right there, but then when they gave that when Luther gave that touching his little thoughts, and then she was all like, I laughed so hard at that because I literally did the same thing. I was like, she ain't gonna fall for that shit. And then she did it, but it looked like Diego was getting to her at first, until Five had to go back and save the family from Miss Walsh, from the handler, after she barged in and interrupted the whole thing and wiped everybody out. When he got shot at the end like that in that barn, and how great was that fight at the end too, man? That last fight, and finding out her powers were that she could, because I was trying to figure out how the hell she was one-upping Five as much as she was. Then it turns out, whenever she's near you, she can copy your powers. But it was cool that they limited it. She could only do it one at a time, so she couldn't take the whole family. So everybody has a way to be checked, which is it's real good. So they figured how to check her. So how to check her. So she did a Loki thing at the end where she just disappeared right after seeing her mother. So will she eventually join her family? And be with Diego? It's not weird because look at Allison and Luther. Right? They don't let it bother them that they could be cosmic brothers and sisters. They're not biologically brothers and sisters, so it's fine. It's not weird, and they already smashed. So just get over it. I hope so. I hope she does in season 3. I hope she does. And that ending. Let's talk about that ending. How because that last episode, when after that fight and whatnot, I'm like, okay, you're just gonna go to 2019 and just go. All the things you changed. Okay, you didn't kill Kennedy. I mean, you saved Kennedy and all that stuff. But all the stuff you did change, you didn't fix, and you just all right, let's go. We left this big old mess and was just going. I was like, oh, no, dude, you just created an alternate timeline, dude. What the hell? No, this is Back to the Future too. So of course, I wasn't surprised that that Ben was there at the end. How awesome was that? New alternative future. So Ben was still alive. And then you saw that they come home and their father was like, what are you talking about? This isn't the Umbrella Academy. This is the Sparrow Academy. And then Ben is still alive. And then there's other siblings. Ben's picture is up on the wall too. So obviously Ben is the leader. And he looks badass. So he must be a good leader. Here's the question. Will it be different siblings? Will some of them look different or will they be the same? I think they'll look the same because Ben's still there. So why wouldn't they be the same children? Maybe they were born in different places, different parents or something like that when they were found and brought together to the Sparrows. But I'm hoping it's still the same characters and they're just going to have different, alternative versions of themselves, right? Where Ben is the leader. Hopefully the same powers too, because that would be kind of funny. Here's the question. Now, what do we do with our Loki? Does this now mean that Lila is there with them? Number 8 or whatever? Their eighth sibling? Wait, 2, 3, 4. Am I got that right? Yeah, 8. Or is she still out of the equation and we're going to get the Lila that we had in season 2 and that Diego knows and they're kind of out of I think she would be untouched by it as well. And maybe we're going to have 2 Lilas. Maybe there's going to be a Lila. Maybe they'll have 8 and then Lila will eventually have to, get over her anger and rejoin, Diego and her family. This version of Lila. Maybe there'll be 2 versions of her too. But wouldn't it be interesting if there isn't a Lila in this alternative future and they have 7 sparrows, but there's 7 umbrella people and Lila has to be the one to fill in that 7 because when Ben died not died again, like when his spirit sacrificed and faded to existence, I'm assuming went to heaven. Then I'm like, okay, well then that means Lila's definitely gonna because there's 7. There's got to be 7. So I'm assuming there will be 7, and there will not be an alternative version of Lila, and they'll be out in season 3. They'll be outnumbered the whole time. It'll be 7 Sparrows versus 6 Umbrella Academy, and in the end, Lila will come through, fill the void, and be the one to help her new adopted family out at the end. That's my prediction for season 3. So let me know what you think about that and about that possibility, and we'll talk about it on We Got Your Mail.
So unbelievably funny. Like one of those people you just obviously he's hilarious, but I feel like he's been in so much good stuff, and like growing up on Seinfeld, you kind of take for granted just how funny he is, and to sort of be the standout funny on, one of the funniest sitcoms of all time.